The marble floors of the High Court echoed beneath polished shoes as cameras flashed from every corner. Journalists, officers, and curious citizens had gathered for the hearing that had gripped the entire city. At the center of it stood Sergeant Cole Matthews, a decorated but disgraced white police officer accused of brutality during a protest. Across the aisle sat Dr. Nia Harris, a black member of Parliament known for her fiery speeches and tireless fight against institutional corruption. She had built her career on exposing injustice, especially within the ranks of the police. Today, their paths collided under the watchful eyes of the nation. Nia walked in with her usual composure, her tailored navy suit crisp, her chin high. Her calm presence contrasted the storm of whispers filling the room. Beside her stood her assistant, Kendra, clutching a folder thick with evidence. Across the aisle, Cole sat stiff, his jaw set, hands folded tightly over his lap. His eyes burned with resentment. He'd once been a local hero, but since Nia's investigation, he'd been suspended, his reputation shredded. Now, every reporter was ready to watch him fall, or fight. "All rise," the bailiff called. The judge entered, solemn and weary. Cole rose slowly, almost defiantly, his disdain barely hidden. When the gavel struck, the room quieted. The hearing began. Nia took the stand, her voice steady. "Your Honor," she began, "this case is not about politics, it's about principle. A badge grants power, not immunity. No one is above the law." Her tone was precise, powerful. The audience listened, captivated. Even her opponents had to admit, Dr. Harris spoke with conviction. Cole scoffed under his breath. "Here we go again," he muttered. "A lecture from a politician who's never walked the streets." Nia turned her head slightly. "I've walked harder streets than you can imagine, Sergeant," she said coolly. "I just never forgot who I was while doing it." A few people gasped. The judge cleared his throat. "Please, both parties will address the bench, not each other." Cole's knuckles whitened. His anger simmered just below the surface. "You ruined my career," he spat suddenly. "You made me look like a monster when all I did was my job." "You assaulted a civilian," Nia replied calmly. "And the footage doesn't lie." His temper broke. "You don't know what it's like out there," he shouted, rising from his seat. "You politicians sit in your glass towers while we deal with chaos." The judge banged his gavel. "Sergeant Matthews, sit down." But Cole wasn't listening. He pointed a trembling finger toward Nia. "You think because you wear a fancy suit and talk about justice you can humiliate me? You think you're untouchable?" Nia didn't flinch. Her eyes stayed locked on his. "Justice doesn't humiliate the innocent, Sergeant. Only the guilty fear it. That was the breaking point." In a flash of rage, Cole lunged forward, closing the distance between them. Before anyone could react, his hand came up and slapped her hard across the face. The sound cracked through the courtroom like thunder. Every person froze, the reporters, the lawyers, even the judge. The silence that followed was suffocating. Cole's chest heaved. His eyes widened as if realizing what he'd just done. Nia's head had snapped to the side, but she didn't fall. Slowly, deliberately, she turned back to face him. Her expression wasn't fear, it was cold, focused fury. Her voice, when it came, was calm as ice. "You shouldn't have done that." Then she moved. With military precision, Nia stepped in, deflecting his next motion with her left arm before driving, her right elbow straight into his jaw. The impact sent him stumbling backward. Before he could regain balance, she followed through, a controlled, tactical strike to his solar plexus that forced the air from his lungs. Cole crumpled, his body hitting the polished floor with a thud. Gasps filled the courtroom as he went completely still. The bailiffs rushed forward, but Nia stepped back, breathing evenly, adjusting her suit. "Restrain your officer," she said firmly, "before he hurts someone else." Reporters scrambled for their cameras. One shouted, "She's ex-military!" Another whispered, "Royal Military Police. Explains the reflexes." The rumor spread like fire. Everyone now understood. Dr. Nia Harris wasn't just a politician. She was a former soldier who'd once enforced military law. No wonder her calm had felt unshakable. The judge finally broke the silence. "Court is adjourned until further notice. Sergeant Matthews will be remanded for assault and contempt." His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. Paramedics rushed in. Cameras kept rolling. Within minutes, the clip would flood social media. MP knocks out cop in court after assault. Public outrage would ignite instantly. Outside, crowds had already gathered, chanting Nia's name. But she didn't smile. She simply turned to the reporters as she exited and said quietly, "Justice doesn't require anger. It requires courage. And with that, she walked down the courthouse steps, her head held high as the sirens wailed behind her. The city had just witnessed a reckoning, and it was only the news of the courtroom clash spread faster than wildfire. By noon, the footage had been replayed on every major network. Every social media platform buzzed with shock, admiration, or outrage. Hashtags like hashtag Dr. Nia Harris, Injustice in Court, and Top V says MP trended worldwide. For the first time in years, the public wasn't divided by politics. They were united by disbelief at what they had just witnessed live in a court of law. Outside the courthouse, protesters gathered behind police barricades. Some held signs reading, "Justice has a name and no one above the law." Others were more defiant, "Fire him," and "Respect her strength." The energy was electric, restless and raw. Media vans lined the street as helicopters hovered above, circling like vultures. Inside her car, Nia sat in silence, her reflection glinting against the tinted glass. Kendra sat beside her, scrolling through her phone, overwhelmed. "Ma'am," she said, "the clip already has 3 million views. It's everywhere." Nia leaned back. "And it'll be 10 million by tonight," she murmured. She wasn't proud, and she wasn't shaken. She was simply aware that what had happened inside that courtroom was now bigger than her, bigger than Cole Matthews. It had become a symbol. Across the city, in the sterile corridors of the police headquarters, the reaction was different. A group of senior officers crowded around a large monitor, watching the moment over and over again. The slap, the silence, the knockout. "Damn it," one of them muttered. "This is a disaster for the department." Another officer crossed his arms. "Disaster? It's humiliation." A sitting MP flattened one of ours in front of the world. In the back of the room, Deputy Commissioner William Tate, a man whose influence extended far beyond the station, leaned forward, expression unreadable. "Get me the file on Harris," he ordered. "Military, politics, personal, everything." One of his subordinates hesitated. "Sir, with respect, the footage shows Matthews attacked her first." Tate's cold stare silenced him instantly. "I don't care who swung first," he said. "She embarrassed us. That can't stand." Meanwhile, at the Parliament building, Nia was met with a standing ovation when she entered the chamber later that afternoon. Colleagues shook her hand, some congratulating her openly, others whispering praise under their breath. Yet behind the applause, she could feel the tension. Some of them admired her courage, others feared the chaos her actions might unleash. The Prime Minister himself had already called her twice, leaving urgent messages. She ignored both for now. Kendra followed her into her office, placing a cup of tea on her desk. "You did what anyone would have done, ma'am," she said softly. "He hit you first." Nia sighed. "That's not how they'll see it. They'll say I lost control." She paused, staring out the window at the swelling crowd below. "But I didn't. I responded with control. There's a difference." Her phone buzzed again, a private number. She hesitated, then answered. "Dr. Harris," said a voice she recognized instantly. It was General Marcus Reed, her former commanding officer from her time in the Royal Military Police. "Saw the footage," he said. "Still got that elbow technique, I see." She chuckled faintly. "Guess some things don't fade, sir." His tone shifted. "Be careful, Nia. The higher-ups won't take this lightly. You embarrassed the system on live TV. They'll come for you, not him." "I'm not afraid," she replied. "I've fought bigger battles than this." But later that night, when the crowds had dispersed and the city lights shimmered over the Thames, Nia sat alone in her apartment, replaying the moment in her head. The slap, the silence, her response. She'd done what she had to, but she knew Tate and his allies wouldn't let it rest. Power, once challenged, always strikes back. Across town, Cole Matthews regained consciousness in a hospital bed. His jaw was wired and his pride shattered. A nurse tried to help him sit up, but he pushed her hand away. "Get me my phone," he rasped. Now, when he finally managed to unlock it, messages flooded the screen, some mocking, others supportive. But one stood out, a text from an unknown number. "You were humiliated. We can help you fix that. Midnight. Dock 9. Cole stared at it, anger burning behind his swollen eyes. "She's not getting away with this," he whispered. He hit reply, "I'll be there." Back in Parliament, Nia received an encrypted message of her own, one only someone from her military past could have sent. It read, "They're moving against you. Trust no one in uniform." She locked her phone, exhaled slowly, and whispered to herself, "So it begins." Outside, thunder rolled through the city as rain began to fall, cold, heavy, and merciless. London's night had turned darker, and the storm that had started in the courtroom was far from over. Rain pounded against the windshield as Nia's car cut through the dark streets of London. The day had been chaos: statements, interviews, angry police unions demanding her suspension, and government advisers urging her to keep a low profile. But there was no silence now, not for her. She stared out the window, watching city lights blur through the water. Her phone buzzed again, another anonymous message. "You humiliated a man in uniform. The uniform never forgets. No sender, no trace. Just a warning wrapped in digital venom. Whoever sent that knows where I live," she muttered. Kendra, driving, glanced in the mirror. "Ma'am, we should inform security." "No," Nia replied sharply. "They'll twist it, say I'm paranoid. We handle this quietly." Across town, Dock 9 was silent except for the hiss of rain hitting rusted metal. Cole Matthews stood under a flickering light, his jaw still bandaged, eyes cold with fury. A black SUV rolled to a stop beside him. Two men stepped out, both in plain clothes, both carrying themselves with military precision. One extended a hand. "Sergeant Matthews, I'm Agent Doyle. This is Agent Briggs. Internal Affairs, or at least what's left of it." Cole narrowed his eyes. "Why am I here?" Doyle smirked. "Because what happened in that courtroom made us all look weak. You want your badge back? Your reputation? We can make that happen, but we'll need your cooperation." Cole hesitated. "And what's in it for you?" "Control," Doyle said simply. "Someone like Nia Harris, she's dangerous. Too much influence. Too many eyes on her. You give us what we need, and we'll make sure she's neutralized before she ruins what's left of the department." Cole didn't like the sound, neutralized, but revenge burned brighter than reason. He nodded slowly. "What do you need me to do?" Doyle leaned closer. "A statement. We'll claim she struck first. You'll play the victim, a traumatized officer attacked by an out-of-control politician. We've already got media partners who'll run it." Cole clenched his fists. "You think they'll believe that?" "They'll believe what they're told to believe," Briggs muttered. The deal was struck under the storm. By morning, headlines had flipped. "Police sergeant claims MP attacked him first. I was defending myself," says Officer Matthews. Talk shows debated the footage. Was it self-defense? Did she overreact? The noise was deafening. Yet through it all, Nia stood firm. She refused interviews, made no public statements, and continued her work at Parliament as if nothing had happened. Silence, she believed, was more powerful than outrage. But Tate was losing patience. Inside his office, he slammed the newspaper onto his desk. "She's not backing down," he growled. "She's calculating." He turned to Doyle. "If she won't destroy herself, we'll do it for her. Dig deeper. Find something, anything, to ruin her credibility." Doyle smirked. "Already working on it. There's talk she mishandled Army intel years ago, classified material." Tate's eyes lit up. "Good. Leak it. Let's see how she handles being the hunted for once." That evening, Nia's phone rang. "It's Marcus," the voice said. "They're fabricating charges, Nia. They've pulled your old service records." "How bad?" she asked. "Bad enough to make you look like a traitor. Listen, you need allies inside the system, people who still believe in you. I'll contact someone from your old unit." "Thank you," she said quietly. "I owe you." After hanging up, she walked to her balcony. London sprawled before her, beautiful, corrupt, alive. She remembered her years in the military police, the discipline, the loyalty, the belief that justice was sacred. Now, the same system she'd once protected was preparing to destroy her. Behind her, Kendra entered with a folder. "Ma'am, this just arrived, no sender." Inside was a photo. Nia froze. It showed her leaving the courthouse, but behind her, in the reflection of a glass door, a man in plain clothes was watching. Doyle. On the back, a note read, "He knows your past." Nia's jaw tightened. "They want a war," she whispered. "Then they'll get one." That night, she called Marcus again. "Find out who Agent Doyle works for. I want everything. His record, his chain of command, his weaknesses." Marcus paused. "You're planning something, aren't you?" "I'm planning survival," she replied. Hours later, while the city slept, Nia opened a locked drawer and pulled out a small black box, the insignia of her old regiment engraved on top. Inside lay her military badge and a service pistol, both relics of a past she'd vowed never to return to. She placed them on the table, staring at the weapon for a long time before whispering, "You're needed again." Across London, Cole sat in his hospital bed watching the news. Doyle's words echoed in his head. Control. He wasn't sure anymore who was controlling who. But one thing was certain. Dr. Nia Harris wasn't done, and neither was he. Outside, the rain stopped. The air hung still, heavy, electric, the kind of silence that comes right before something breaks. By dawn, the storm had passed, but the tension in London had only deepened. Every news outlet blared with the same headline, MP under fire for leaked military files. The fabricated reports had hit their mark. Nia Harris was now being accused of withholding classified information from her time in the Royal Military Police, an offence serious enough to end her career and imprison her if proven true. She sat in her office, expression unreadable, while Kendra paced nervously. "Ma'am, this is bad. They're saying you leaked intel to foreign agents." "I know what they're saying," Nia replied, calm but cold. "It's a lie, and lies can be dismantled." She turned her computer screen toward Kendra, showing an encrypted data stream. Marcus traced the leak. It came from inside the police network. Someone planted falsified documents tied to my old service number. Kendra's eyes widened. "You mean Tate?" Nia nodded. "Tate and his puppets. They want to bury me before I can expose what's really going on in the department." Meanwhile, at police headquarters, Tate met privately with Doyle and Cole. The three men stood in a dimly lit operations room, the walls lined with monitors displaying Nia's image on every channel. "She's slipping," Tate said. "Public opinion is turning. Keep pushing the story." Cole shifted uneasily. "You said this would just clear my name. You never said we'd destroy hers." Doyle sneered. "You sound like you're growing a conscience, Sergeant." Cole clenched his jaw. "I didn't sign up to ruin someone innocent." Tate's voice hardened. "You lost that privilege when you hit her. Now you follow orders, or you'll go down with her." Back in Parliament, Nia prepared her counter-attack. She called a secret press briefing, not to defend herself, but to reveal something no one expected. Standing at the podium, she began, "For years, I've spoken about corruption in our police system. Today, I bring proof." She pressed a button on a remote, and the projector behind her flickered to life, displaying leaked footage from Tate's own meetings with Doyle, discussing how to frame her. Gasps filled the room. "These recordings," Nia continued, "were retrieved by cyber experts from a compromised server within police headquarters, the same network used to falsify documents against me." Her tone was firm, her gaze unwavering. "This isn't just my fight. It's every citizen's right to justice." The press erupted with questions, but Nia walked away calmly, leaving chaos in her wake. Within hours, the footage hit every major channel. Public outrage exploded. Crowds stormed the streets demanding Tate's resignation. The Home Secretary ordered a full investigation. At headquarters, panic spread. Doyle smashed his phone against the wall. "She turned it around," Tate barked, pacing furiously. "Get rid of everything, files, servers, evidence." But before they could act, the sound of boots echoed down the hall. Armed officers in tactical gear burst through the doors. "Deputy Commissioner Tate," one shouted, "you're under arrest for conspiracy and obstruction of justice." Tate froze, fury twisting his face. "You can't arrest me in my own building." The officer replied coldly. "We just did." As Tate was handcuffed, Cole watched silently from the corner. He looked broken, trapped between shame and relief. When the officers led Tate and Doyle away, Cole whispered, "Guess the uniform finally remembered who it's supposed to serve." Later that evening, Nia stood outside the Parliament steps, surrounded by flashing lights and roaring crowds. She had become a national symbol overnight, not just for justice but for resilience. Reporters bombarded her with questions. "Do you feel vindicated, Dr. Harris? Will you press charges?" She raised her hand for silence. "Justice was never about vengeance," she said clearly. "It's about truth. And today, truth prevailed." The crowd erupted into cheers. Some wept, waving signs bearing her name. As the noise faded, Marcus approached from behind, his military coat damp from rain. "You handled it better than half my old officers would have," he said with a small smile. Nia chuckled softly. "Guess the training stuck after all." He nodded. "They'll still come after you, you know. Power hates losing." "I'm counting on it," she replied. "Let them come. I'm not hiding anymore." Later, back in her office, Nia removed the pistol from her desk drawer and locked it away for good. The fight had been brutal, but she'd won it without firing a single shot. She stood by the window, watching the city lights shimmer across the river. For the first time in weeks, the storm inside her had quieted. Across the skyline, sirens wailed as Tate and Doyle were transported to custody. Cole, sitting alone in his apartment, drafted his resignation letter. The world had shifted. Nia whispered to herself, "The law isn't perfect, but sometimes justice finds its own way." She turned off the light and walked out, her silhouette vanishing into the dawn. The courtroom slap had started a war, but it ended with a revolution.